In the last episode, Lu Sheng showed no mercy to the band of fools who tried to rob him, teaching them a harsh lesson they wouldn't soon forget. But during this time, things had gone from bad to worse on Snowy's side. Her brother, completely losing control, had fallen under the sinister influence of the black mist swirling in the cavern. Despite her desperate attempts to bring him back to his senses, it was no use. In a moment of chaos, Snowy was swallowed whole by a massive creature lurking in the shadows. Now, as we pick up the story, Lu Sheng's heart is racing, a gnawing sense of dread tightening its grip on him. Without wasting a second, he shot out of the cavern, practically flying toward the surface. Something was terribly wrong. He could feel it deep in his bones. In his mind, it was as if he could hear a thread snapping, and with it, he had an awful feeling. He came to a sudden stop, gasping for air, but the suffocating feeling of unease didn't leave. Rather, it had gotten worse. It was like a punch to the gut, a deep instinct telling him that something important was slipping further and further away. But what really sent chills down his spine? The immortal cells that had been warning him had gone completely silent. No signals, no nothing. That silence was almost scarier than anything. Once he made it to the surface, his phone finally got some signal, and he wasted no time calling his mom. Every second of waiting felt like a year, and his palms were sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. Sorry, let's not lose track. Anyways, thank the heavens, his mom picked up. Her voice was calm, familiar. He exhaled slowly, finally relaxing a bit. He asked about his dad, trying to keep his voice steady, but his mom must have caught something in his tone because she immediately asked if something had happened. He tells her everything is fine, though his nerves were shot. Next, he called his younger sister, who tells him she was in class. Everyone seemed fine. Okay, so if it wasn't them, who was it? Then it hit him. Could it be Snowy? Without wasting a second, he dialed her number, only to be met with silence. No answer. He tried again. Nothing. It was weird, but being in the military, phone service was sketchy sometimes. No big deal, right? This doesn't mean something bad happened, he told himself, forcing a positive spin on it. But then his phone buzzed, and the caller ID flashed Chin. As the call connected, Chin's voice rang from the other side. However, he sounded very stressed out, asking where is Lu Sheng. Lu Sheng barely finished telling him his location when Chin cut him off. Get back here now! Something's happened to Snowy. Lu Sheng's heart sank. He took a deep breath, trying to keep his voice calm, telling Chin to slow down and tell him what happened. That's when the bad news hit. It hit him like a truck listening to Chin explaining that the three of them had entered a double S-level cavern, and the group encountered a cavern uprising. However, not just any uprising, but a level 10, the highest level and the worst. Lu Sheng quickly got the coordinates. It was in the nearby 7th battle zone. I'll be there, he said, hanging up before sprinting off like a rocket. No hesitation, just pure speed. He was so fast the ground literally cracked beneath him as he ran. Meanwhile, the scene shifted to the 7th battle zone. It was chaos. Soldiers and general stars gathered, but the oppressive pressure from below the cavern was making everyone nervous. They knew they were in over their heads. One commander frantically radioed for backup from the 6th and 8th battle zones, but deep down, he knew reinforcements wouldn't be enough to avoid serious losses. The commander grabbed his radio, hearing the other side, questioning him. How many teams are still down there? He responded by saying 8, including the team with Lin Wanwan, daughter of the transcendent martial saint, and Dong Shengyi. The commander froze for a second. Daughter and a top disciple of a martial saint? After a tense pause, a voice from HQ ordered him to rally every available general star. They couldn't afford to lose those two. There was no way the military could afford to face the wrath of a martial saint looming over their heads. Orders flew fast, and the commander wasted no time. He split his forces, leaving a small squad to coordinate reinforcements while wanting to lead the rest into the cavern. No time to wait. This was going to be a fight for their lives. Suddenly, one soldier shouted that something is happening. Looks like someone is coming out. Everyone turned to see, and sure enough, Dong Shengyi burst out of the cavern, weapons swinging wildly. On his back, Lin Wanwan is unconscious but alive, and right behind him, a horde of powerful beasts hot on his heels. As soon as Dong Shengyi and Lin Wanwan were pulled to safety, everyone jumped into the fight, taking down the beasts that had chased them out of the cavern. Once the chaos settled, the two of them just sat there on the ground, staring blankly. Dong Shengyi's hands wouldn't stop shaking, while Lin Wanwan's tears streamed down her face. The commander walked over, feeling a bit relieved, and commented that good thing they were both all right. If not, they'd have had no choice but to charge into that cavern uprising. Dong Shengyi didn't reply, just kept staring at the ground, although his hands kept trembling. The commander glanced back at the folks that came out behind them, nodding gratefully, saying not only did he make it out alive, but he saved them too. Suddenly, Dong Shengyi collapsed to his knees like all the strength had been sucked out of him. His voice, shaky and hoarse, barely escaped his lips. "It's my fault. It's my fault." Lin Wanwan and the commander exchanged worried glances, watching as Dong Shengyi just kept repeating, I got her killed." A soldier quietly leaned in to whisper to the commander, "Sir, seems like one of their team member didn't make it out." The commander was shocked, his jaw clenching, asking why didn't he tell him this earlier. The person muttered that he just found out. Lowering his voice, he tells the commander that the person was Dong Shengyi's sister, a colonel from the 9th Battle Zone. Hearing this, the commander breathed a sigh of relief, the weight of the situation settling on his shoulders. He thought she might have been another disciple from the transcendent martial saint. Thank goodness she's not. But losing someone like her, well, that hit differently. Still, in his mind, he knew the battlefield showed no mercy. Even a 7th-level grandmaster could fall any time, let alone a 6th-level martial artist. Oh man, this guy has no idea what will happen next. He glanced at Dong Shengyi, who was still a wreck. He'll come around, the commander thought to himself. Guys like him, the bond with family fades as they grow stronger. He'll bounce back. After all, he's still the heir to a martial saint. But that was a thought he didn't dare to say out loud and only kept to himself. Just as the commander was about to comfort the two, a person descended from the sky, slamming into the ground in front of the cavern and kicking up a cloud of dust. The ground shook, and a voice, deep and commanding, echoed through the air like it came straight from a demon king. "Where's Dong Shengyi?" Everyone's heads whipped toward the source, revealing a young man gripping a long spear. The commander's eyes widened in disbelief. As an 11-star general himself, he rarely felt intimidated, but just one glance at Lu Sheng sent a chill down his spine. Instinctively, he took a few steps back. The pressure radiating from Lu Sheng was overwhelming, perhaps even a bit suffocating. Lu Sheng's eyes scanned the crowd before locking on Dong Shengyi, who was still slumped on the ground, looking battered and broken. His voice thundered, "Get the hell over here, you bastard." Dong Shengyi, looking utterly defeated, met Lu Sheng's gaze, but before he could react, Lu Sheng had already grabbed him by the collar, yanking him up with one hand. His eyes burned cold, asking, "Where is Snowy?" Dong Shengyi choked, unable to speak. Tears welled up again in Lin Wanwan's eyes, and she began sobbing uncontrollably. In that instant, Lu Sheng understood what was going on. He let go of Dong Shengyi, a mixture of disappointment and rage flashing across his face. He said it was Dong Shengyi who put Snowy in danger, and he didn't bring her back. This is on him. His voice dropped even lower, barely more than a growl, telling him that he failed as a brother. Lu Sheng took a deep breath, turning away. As he walked off, his tone shifted. He knew Dong Shengyi was chasing after the pinnacle of martial arts, but once he brought Snowy back, he will personally destroy his martial path. Without another word, Lu Sheng leaped into the cavern, vanishing into the darkness below. The commander snapped out of his shock and shouted after him, saying, "That's a double S-level cavern. He will die in there." But Lu Sheng didn't even glance back. Dong Shengyi, still shaken, could only stare as Lu Sheng disappeared into the depths. That guy, his hands clenched tightly, muttering to himself, "Is he Lu Sheng?" Unfortunately, there will only be one chapter this week. The studio has just released a hiatus notice and will be back on the weekend. At the same time, there's a little sneak peek into the next chapter. What do you think will happen next? Tell me in the comment below. As always, thank you for watching and see you in the next one.